Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. A lot of tears shed from crypto holders today and also yesterday as there were massive liquidations, but you know what's really impressive is XRP performing with insane strength compared to what we've come to expect in recent years, let's say. In the face of liquidation, XRP, I mean, look at where it's at right now. Look at the top 10 coins by market cap. XRP is the top performer. It's up 8.21% over the last 24 hours as of the time I'm recording this. Truly amazing stuff. So it doesn't mean for sure that the crypto market on the whole is out of the woods. And yes, broadly speaking, XRP moves in tandem, and it did here too. It's just the degree to which it's moving and where it's finding support. Pretty damn notable, as we'll get into, because XRP has pretty well held on to the 2021 all-time, well, I won't call all-time highs, but cycle high price in 2021. XRP has held on to that level of support. Incredibly impressive. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. Just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, now, so XRP got as low as $1.93 today, so that caused a lot of people to panic. That was at about 12:15 p.m. And so you can see after that, it just climbed right back on up, got to a high of $2.41, and it's been ranging mostly sideways since it's at $2.33 now. But think about that. From about 12:15 until just hours later, less than 3 hours later, about 3:10, it went from $1.93 to $2.40. And so we're just ranging. Look, by the end, when this is all said and done, like, you'll look back on this and see that none of this short-term stuff that you're freaking out about actually matters. I insist that this is a binary bet. Either XRP goes to zero and that means we're all wrong, or it will eventually hit a new all-time high. But the crypto pie is just going to keep getting bigger, which is to say the asset class is going to keep getting bigger. And so if XRP doesn't deserve to be here long-term, then it's going to ultimately fizzle out, and fewer people will continue to put money into it. You'll lose developers, so on and so forth, but that's not the direction that we're going. So since it's not the direction we're going, I firmly believe that at some unknown point in the future, probably sooner than later, frankly, since we're in a bull market, we will hit that new all-time high. But one of those things will happen, and I'm going to have exposure regardless of which it is, because I mean, unless I see that there's actually something catastrophically wrong, in which case I'll talk about it. But everything's going the right way, the way that you would want this to go. So anyway, the reason I'm saying that is to point out that whatever happens in between, including pretty much everything that's happened in nearly the last 7 years, in the end, it won't matter. Either the bet is correct that XRP one day hits a new all-time high, or it's wrong and it goes to zero one day. Since neither of those has happened, I don't care about what happens in between, not emotionally. Now, I'm interested because I have skin in the game, but it doesn't emotionally hit me. I expect this to happen because this is the most volatile asset class on the entire planet. And look, to be clear, for anybody that's new, there is nothing wrong with XRP that caused this crate to crater on down here. Because, you know, before we got down to $1.93, it was around $2.25, which is close to a pretty notable support level many analysts have pointed out. So it did move down to that degree, but it's not because of something XRP specific. And to prove that, look at Bitcoin. At basically the same time here, it says 12:10. That's about the same time. We're splitting hairs here. Bitcoin hit its 24-hour low of $94,574. And the 24-hour high was $98,218. It hit its low for the last 24 hours at the same time XRP did, and frankly, the same time everything else did. Look at your screen on the right here. So you can see the weekly charts for all these coins on Live Coin Watch. Look at the right part of these charts, because they're going to look, almost 100% of them will look exactly the same. Do you see how the market moves in tandem? Just look to the right of where my mouse pointer is. Look at that. They're almost all the same, and most of the ones that aren't, it's because they're stable coins, so you wouldn't expect them to anyway. Look at that. All of them. So to be clear, the asset class moves in tandem. That is provably the case. There's nothing wrong here. And at the time I'm recording this, Bitcoin's at $97,635. Oh, I didn't say what time it is yet, just in case anyone's curious. It is 10:54 p.m. Central Time, my time zone, Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. Crypto Fear and Greed Index, 74 out of 100, so we're out of extreme greed, not surprisingly given the massive liquidations, but we're still feeling greedy. Think about it. All these liquidations and all you out there, you still being some greedy sons of bitches. 74 out of 100. Here we have a post from chart analyst Mustache, and he certainly gets this. He's been around in crypto for quite some time. Since 2015, in fact. He shared this with his 147,000 followers. Hashtag altcoins. I see some people panicking, but there is no reason to do so. Market makers are good at what they do. The OGs know it from the first cycle, the others from the last cycle. Confuse people so much that they think it's over and then pump the market to new highs. Yep, that's right. And I'll also note, especially for anybody that might be brand new to crypto, welcome to the party, by the way. You can see it's very violent at times in terms of the volatility. But, we traded sideways and down for like over half a year, from say March until the election, arguably. And there were certain months at the beginning of I want to say, I'm pulling from memory here, I think this is right, like July and August in particular, massive crashes. It's like the type of fear that people were feeling today and yesterday. It was like that, but for some people even worse, because the market had already been trending down for months, right? So here at least we had been trending up since the election, mostly anyway. But those moments are always going to come, and then they always go, and then you forget about them. But that's why it doesn't make sense to feel these scary emotions. Either we're right or we're not. If you have conviction that this asset class is ultimately going to get bigger, then even if we had some sort of black swan event and the world falls apart here, well, then I'll just wait for the market to come back in a few years, and then I'm fine. I'm not going to sell anyway. And so, if you're not a person that is in a position that where what you've invested you need to pull out now to maintain whatever your current lifestyle is, why are you sweating bullets anyway? If you've only invested what you're willing to lose and you literally don't need it right now anyway, then if the market goes down in the short term, and even if we have to wait for the market to pump back up, say we're entering a bear market, who cares? That's been my attitude the whole time I've been in crypto, and it helps me to sleep at night because I genuinely am okay with that. Now, if you're over exposed or something like that, that's going to make it harder, but it's a bad idea to be overexposed also. But I'm just saying, whatever the situation is here, whether, and I don't think that's likely at all, by the way. I don't believe for a moment that's going to happen. I'm just saying worst case scenario if we entered a bear market. But whether it's that case or we just have to wait a little bit longer to see this blow off top, who cares? Why are you sweating bullets? It just doesn't make sense to freak out about this stuff. And also, this is another demonstration of why it is just stupid as hell to play with leverage. The thousands of % gains that are commonplace in crypto that are life-changing for people should be enough for anybody listening to this. It really should, okay? If it's not, damn you greedy son. Here's a post from Crypto Insight UK chart analyst. After a liquidation day, the price does often just crab about. So he's saying just kind of move sideways such. Sometimes pushes slightly below the wicks, sometimes sets a higher low. Standard chop working people out before a move. Nothing to panic about. Standard market structure. A week's time, it'll all be so different. Yeah, I believe that's correct. Even if there's another pullback in the short term, I won't be surprised whether it's a week or a little bit more than that. If we were to bring this up again, you're like, oh yeah, whatever. It'll be a distant memory at that point, and it won't matter. Market cap's going up, folks. We are not seeing top indicators for this market cycle. When we do, I promise you, I will be screaming about them. I know most quote unquote influencers out there, they don't want to talk about this stuff because they want to do the hypey stuff and it'll pull in more people. But if we're there, I'm just going to say it. For better or worse, I don't give a damn. I'm not here to sell you anything. If we're at the top or reaching the top and we're seeing signals that were top indicators in previous cycles, absolutely, I'm going to be screaming about it. And then I don't care. The internet people that disagree with me, they can scream at me. I don't care. They will be proven wrong almost certainly. I'm very used to this. There's also this post from chart analyst Dom. So he was talking, what chart was this? Oh, altcoin. Yeah, he was talking about altcoin open interest here. And he said, that move really scared off many or wiped them. That's true leverage. The best case is to see revival without this following up perfectly. Let's hope spot buyers can push us back for a revival. Now it's at 4:23 p.m., so it was after the massive part of the liquidation here. And so XRP had already moved to the upside. I just got to say again, I'm astounded by the strength that we're seeing from XRP. It really is a sight to behold here. Now, it doesn't mean it can't go lower, just to be clear here. So there's this video posted by the blockchain backer. I'm sure many of you caught it. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to. He posted it this morning. It was before the biggest part of the liquidation here, but everything he said absolutely still relevant here. And so I'll just note here, today XRP did go back down again to test its high of the last cycle around the $2 range. Is a little bit lower than that, right? It's worth noting that the blockchain backer said in his video today that, if the total crypto market cap comes back down to retest the high of the last cycle, given where XRP is in consideration, that could place the price of XRP potentially down to about $1.50. Now, he's not saying that will happen. He's just saying if the market goes down, XRP is going to be in a reactionary position. Of course, it always is. And he's warning that in such a position, everything will be bleeding, of course, and that's the level that we could be watching for XRP. So yes, that would be about a 50% drop compared to its local high of $2.90 very recently. That is normal in crypto. That doesn't mean that the sky is falling, doesn't mean that everything's out of control and we've made horrible life decisions. Nope. Look at historical price action. You'll find that this stuff is very normal, even in bull markets. There's also this post from chart analyst Dom. He's talking about Bitcoin here. And this is at 4:17 p.m., so after the biggest part of the liquidation earlier today. Said, Bitcoin, we saw a good reaction from the level marked out, the $95,000 range. However, we aren't out of the clear until $98,000 can turn back to key support. So that's not where we are right now, but we are getting close, at least at the time that I'm recording this. So he's just saying something to watch for. And then we also have this. Let's talk about XRP specifically. And there's a few posts here. The first one is from 12:21 p.m. So I guess this would have been right after XRP and the rest of the market had kind of hit its bottom today. And so he wrote, we've hit bottom level support around previous cycle high. This is our last major support area until around $1.60. You'd expect it to give some type of bounce. We really want to see this level hold. It's eyes on Bitcoin, whether it holds lows or does the fall to $90,000 to $92,000. Yeah. And so that will always be the case. And that thinking is in line with what I saw from the blockchain backer. I mean, so if you do see the market go down, XRP is going to be reactionary here. Specifically, Dom is saying if Bitcoin goes down to those levels, 90 to 92,000, which didn't happen today, it would be more likely that XRP would have bled out even more. So when you see those things, just understand it doesn't mean there's something specifically wrong necessarily with the asset that you're holding. Look broadly across the asset class, and if you find that everything's dropping, then it's just emotional humans being emotional, causing extreme volatility, and you should expect that. So when the market is behaving like you should logically expect it to do, even if it makes your net worth go down in the short term, you should shrug it off because it doesn't matter. That's what I think anyway. Like that's how I couldn't sleep at night if I did otherwise. But I know this. I genuinely believe what I'm saying. So I'm not telling you specifically to buy or sell or hold. I don't know what's best for you. You do what you want. This is just the way that I'm approaching the market. And I do believe that's the most logical approach, broadly speaking. The people that try and time markets, get in and out, like those are the people that suffer. The people that, think about it, like the people that gave up on XRP, halfway through this year, like, oh, it's just not going. It's looking awful. It's priced so poorly against Bitcoin. Well, they missed out on the over 400% gains, which I was talking about this whole year. Is like, look, you either have exposure when this thing goes or don't. And if you want to give up, go ahead, sell. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be here though, because we don't choose when it goes. All that happens is it's just showing that you're impatient. You have lost your patience, but you don't get to decide when the market goes. You just sound like a little whiny baby, but I want my Lambo, no, I want my Lambo now on the moon, That's what you sound like to me. I don't care. Now do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want. And if there's an emergency and you got to sell, hey, no, I ain't got no hate. I wouldn't disrespect you for selling. If you got to pull out money for any sort of serious life, just do whatever you want to do. But if your attitude is, but it's not moving and I wanted it to already have moved by now, then your mind is broken. That's not how these markets work. They go whenever. That's it. And you either have exposure or you don't. And one thing that helps keep people sane, I think, is just having broad exposure to the asset class, which I sure as hell do. I hold 42 different cryptocurrencies. And not that you need to have that many. I just have that many because I've been here now over 7 years. And so I've accumulated stuff over the years. But the stuff that I've held the longest have had the greatest returns, broadly speaking, in terms of multiplier effect. That shouldn't surprise you. It's because I just buy and then I hold cycle after cycle for better or worse. And on the whole, it's been way for better, right? That's how this works, folks. There's also this from chart analyst Dom talking about XRP. It says XRP order book analysis. Oh, by the way, I want to mention this first. This is at 5:18 p.m., so after the most recent liquidation here. XRP order book analysis does it again. Earlier today, I identified large buy walls from $2 down to $1.80. And he said, and this is a quote at the time, we may see some of these get filled if Bitcoin can hold itself up, end quote. Price perfectly tapped these orders, filling many, and then immediately reversed. And so specifically, if you look at the top left and top right charts, those are most interesting to me because that's based on spot exchanges. So, whatever the market price is, if you're in Binance or Coinbase, and look at right where you would expect it to happen. A lot of buy orders there, a lot of support there. And it did bounce. It's not that terribly surprising. Now, of course, if Bitcoin dropped even further, then, still would have, I think he still would have just like melted through them, but that's not what happened. And so it was notable support. And then we did bounce to the upside. You'll love to see it. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK. When alt season, question mark. And this is a market cap Bitcoin dominance percentage chart here, which at the time he posted this was 56.77%. And he posted this in the morning, 3:28 a.m., so before liquidations, but still relevant. He said Bitcoin dominance hits the bottom part of the, the bottom of the ascending channel and closes the day below, turning it into daily resistance. He says this could be what comes next. And so you can see what he's kind of highlighted here. He's talking about alt season coming, of course. And then he says at the same time as Total 3, and by the way, Total 3, of course, is the entirety of the crypto asset class except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's what Total 3 is. That's the name of that chart. At the same time as Total 3 is battling hard with a break of all-time high / entering price discovery. And so here you can see that chart. That is the Total 3 chart. And then he shares this and he says, and leading alts like XRP to look like this. You're not bullish enough. And that's what he posted. It was before the liquidation. It still holds true right now. Look at what it has done. This is an XRP USD chart. Not bullish enough. Oh my God, by the time this is done, I'm so curious to see how high XRP goes. But the idea that we're not bullish enough, that's probably true. I will not be surprised if XRP ends up going into double digits. I don't make price predictions. I don't know if that'll happen, but I will not be surprised in the least. Here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. And this was before the liquidation, but it's still relevant because he's talking about key levels. So I thought I'd highlight this just to drive home the idea that tons of analysts, even if they slightly disagree on where the support and resistance level are, they're very frequently, it's about the same. So here he was citing, the importance of defending the $1.96 level, which, if you look at Live Coin Watch, it went a little bit lower on individual exchanges. I'm sure some of them went a little bit lower, but that's roughly where we were supposed to look. And Dark Defender, also another chart analyst, he was looking at a very similar level, not exactly the same, but he said $1.88. And so you see slight discrepancies like that from analyst to analyst. But it kind of gives you an idea of the types of levels, the ranges that you should be looking at. And then when you see that, what is strong support actually holds, as long as Bitcoin doesn't get too ridiculous to the downside, you shouldn't be surprised. It's nice to see that. So I don't know if in the short term we're going to see more downside price action, but eventually the market's going to resume to the upside because we're in a bull market, and we are not seeing stuff that you would expect to happen at the peak of markets. Again, I promise we will be talking about that on this channel as we approach, even if people want to scream at me and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about and it's going to go higher. That happens every single cycle, including last cycle. It's going to happen again this cycle. Tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and I'll just say, okay, well, you do you, girl. I don't care. I'm a sell. I'm going to take my life-changing wealth and dollar cost average back in during the bear market, but you do you. You do you. But I don't think this time's going to be different. And so there is still time ahead. This is not a time to panic. If anything, for people that still want to increase the size of their positions, those people have viewed this as nothing but an incredible opportunity. So you guys let me know what you think, but I am still just in excited mode. I just am. I think about what we've gone throughout this year, and I have been excited the whole year. I really have. I've been the most excited for good reason after the election. That's been the most fun this year. But the whole freaking year, I think we had a pretty good idea of what was most probable, and I talked about it the whole year, and then to see it actually happen after the election. And I said that for months leading up to it. I said, guys, historically, I told you, if you were listening, I was like, guys, historically, after the election, that's when the market heats up. And it could be that day, it could be the next week, it could be a month after that. But roughly speaking, that's when markets start to move to the upside. And here, it went in such a way that the market very clearly wanted that it moved immediately. That's the degree to which they did not want Harris to win. That's very obvious. And so for that reason, we didn't have to wait a week or a month or whatever the time length otherwise would have been if Harris had won. It just went. And so, but, after going through all of this and seeing how much more my entire crypto portfolio is with and how much more my XRP is with, just because I sat around with the confidence and true conviction, I just had to sit here doing nothing. It's exactly what I'd hoped. And honestly, for most people, doing nothing is harder than it sounds because people want to tinker with their positions and they second guess themselves. And that's how you screw yourself, frankly. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.